Parkour! Big news! So I just released my first feature-length documentary. Yeah! Thank you. I've worked on a smaller one before with Noah Heath. Link in the description. If you haven't seen it already, go watch it. But this is my first feature-length film. It tells the story of a road trip I took during quarantine, and I'll leave the link in the description below. If you haven't seen it yet, then pause this video and go watch that one. Have you seen it yet? If you did, what did you think? Because it's kind of controversial. I know a lot of people are telling us to stay home, but this is... you'll just have to watch it to understand. If you haven't seen it yet, you're about to get a sneak peek. Today I'm going to explain my editing process, and I'm also going to share some tips and secrets I've learned through editing this documentary. Let's get right into it. Alright, so I'm opening up the hard drive so I can show you how I organized everything. I have everything split up into different folders. Each day of the trip has its own folder. I have all the audio from the interviews in its own folder. I also have a folder for the music. This is a folder for the interview footage. So now we'll open up Final Cut. So I decided to split the film up into parts for editing, so everything has its own event in the library. I started with syncing the interview audio to the interviews. This was super satisfying and helped so much later on, so I definitely recommend you do this. We had two angles for the interviews, a wide shot on a tripod and a close-up handheld shot. I layered them on top of each other and matched everything up.
God's spot. It was such a short-lived adventure because the police decided, nah fam, you can't do that here.
This event up here labeled Doc is actually my intro. This is the first part of the film I edited. And shout out to Brendan for the music. So like I said, I split everything up into parts. This is part 1 and it's about 15 minutes. It covers us explaining how the trip came about and our time in PA with Chad. It ends with us leaving PA for Flint. Part 2 is our entire time in Flint. So now I'm going to create part 3. That's going to cover the rest of the trip. I give it its own event and then create the project. Alright, so I'm going to give it its own event and then I'm going to create the project. Once I create the project, I like to review the footage to jog my memory. This way I can see what happened and I can import some footage to get me started. Alright, so I just skipped ahead and imported all the clips from my first day in Columbus, as well as the song I want to use for this part. I got everything. My footage, Matt's footage, and the GoPro footage. Footage is a weird word. Alright, so my next step is to go back to the interview event. To save time in this video, I'll just get one bit, but I usually get all the stories from that specific day and just copy them all to the project. Oh, and this is just the Final Cut thing, but I had this gray bar because this layer is magnetic. If I add a clip like this, it automatically connects, and that's so annoying. So I'll just add that and then edit the footage above it and the music below it. So I'll chop it up into sections and I'll put my dialogue here. I'll extend this and use the one side for editing and the other side for my dialogue. So I'll go ahead that now. Boom, future. So I went ahead and got started piecing the dialogue.
We didn't find anybody's house to crash at when we were in Columbus, at least for the first night. So we tried to find a bridge to sleep under, but...
So I already have AJ saying something similar, so I'll remove that bit from Matt and only keep what I need.
We tried to find a bridge to sleep under, but none of it was going to work.
I can get rid of the stuff that AJ says because I can just cut to Matt here. So I'll drag it over, and this is what it looks like.
So in Columbus, we got there late at night. I think around, what, like 12, 1 a.m.? 3. Fuck.
We tried to find a bridge to sleep under, but none of it was going to work.
So we didn't have the best mic, so our audio levels were all different. I had to raise Matt's to match everyone else's level.
We were supposed to sleep under the railroad track.
And then I'll add this little part from Chris, and now it'll look like this.
So in Columbus, we got there late at night. I think around, what, like 12, 1 a.m.? 3. Fuck.
We tried to find a bridge to sleep under, but none of it was going to work.
But we would have got soaked.
So right here Chris says, but
we would have...
And it doesn't really sound right as a whole, so we can just go ahead and remove that altogether. Drag this over, and now it'll sound like this.
None of it was going to work.
We would have got soaked.
And that's better. So now I have all the interviews. Chris, AJ, me, and Matt. And this is just the Columbus portion. And I went ahead and imported the first clip. It's a GoPro clip of us waking up in a car because we had to sleep in the car that night, and it's exactly where I left off in part 2. So now I'm about to edit a bit, but I'll actually change this up, and I'll show you why in a bit. I decided to start with the dialogue from earlier.
So in Columbus, we got there late at night. I think around, what, like 12, 1 a.m.? 3. Fuck.
We tried to find a bridge to sleep under, but none of it was gonna work.
We would have got soaked.
I told you guys, syncing all the audio in the beginning would help me a lot in the future. Layering them like this makes it effortless cutting between angles.
So in Columbus, we got there late at night. I think around, like 12, 1 a.m.? 3. Fuck.
So when AJ says 3, I switch angles, and it sort of amplifies what he says, while holding the attention with a fresh cut.
Like 12, 1 a.m.? 3. Fuck.
See what I mean?
So in Columbus...
So another thing with the audio, I don't like it starting hard. So to avoid that, I'll fade the audio in.
So in Columbus, we got...
The clip will have a hard cut,
So in Columbus...
but the audio fades in smoothly.
So in Columbus, we got there...
Do the same thing at the end of the story, like this.
Soaked.
You might understand better here. Listen.
Fuck.
We tried to find a...
Fuck.
We tried to find...
Fuck.
We tried to...
When there's a cut in the audio, it creates a little click. It's an easy fix though. I'll just fade the audio together and make the fade fast so the two audio clips don't overlap.
We tried to find a bridge.
And boom, no more click.
We tried...
I'll just do the same thing over here.
Work.
We would have got.
And that's essentially how I handled the audio. Another thing I like to do when piecing together dialogue is add B-roll over it. So I just added a bit more to that story, and over here I have a few shots that relate to the story being told. I have some leftover dialogue that I won't be using, so you can just delete those. So like I said earlier, cutting between angles helps the story visually. Like this.
We knew it was gonna rain heavily, so we ended up just all squeezing in the car.
Yeah, that was the first time we all slept in the car together.
But matching up relatable B-roll also helps amplify the story. It becomes immersive in a way. Like here I have footage of us sleeping in the car, which I can put on top of our story. So I was gonna show an example, but my computer kept lagging, so I cut it out. It's alright though, because you'll get to see what I mean in the sneak peek at the end. So now I'm gonna go and cut up some footage that we can use as a follow-up to the story. So we have the shot I took after we all woke up, and then a clip Matt got. That day was We Jumped the World Day, and Matt found the fun little part about that.
Today is also We Jumped the World
Happy
Day.
We Jumped the World Day. Woo!
Jump on the world!
The clip is long and we don't need all of it, so we'll just keep the parts we need.
Jump on the world!
Like here, AJ took too long to jump, so we can cut out all this dancing and cut to him finally jumping.
No, just jump! Jump on the world!
Which is right about here.
Jump on the world! Yay!
So now we just take the parts we need and put them together. We can delete the rest since we're not using it. And then we can just add them to the story. So now I want to start adding music. I brought the song in earlier and now I'll drag it to the timeline. There, when the beat drops, is where I want the action to start. But I have some time before that I can use for B-roll shots to connect us waking up in the car to watch training. So I'm just going to drag in some more clips. So I'm going to go ahead and edit a little section and then we can skip ahead to the next part. So while I was editing all this, I remembered something else. Audio peaking. Matt's camera wasn't set up right, so most of his footage has audio that's peaking. You can see the red colors in the audio track. It doesn't sound great.
Jump on the world!
We can just go and lower the volume so they're not peaking. It's not perfect, but it's bearable. I'm sure there are better ways to fix it, and if you know of any, then please feel free to share them in the comments.
Jump on the world! Yay!
Alright, so now let's get back to this. I decided to have the follow-up B-roll start on this first beat. It looks like this.
Today is also We Jumped the World Day.
Cutting on beat is just a general rule to follow when editing. So the song also rises right here, so I'll use that for a scene change.
Yay!
Yeah, so this beat is a good marker to switch to us walking to the spot. And that perfectly leads us to the action beat. So as soon as the beat drops, AJ comes in the frame and I start striding. So now another thing with the relatable B-roll. I have a few shots of this deer statue. You can see it up here, and then we can cut to a medium shot, and then a close-up. And notice in the close-up shot, you can see Chris striding in the background, and that allows us to cut to Matt striding the same blocks. So I edit my B-roll in a way that makes each shot visually flow into the next. This way it creates a concise story. So another thing I like to do when editing scenes is to split up that gray bar again. So I'll have 3 sections. The first section is the story itself, while the second section is where I cut up the clips. So I'll add all the clips I want to use, in the order I want to use them. Then I'll cut each piece individually, and then put them together. And then I'll move them over here to match up all the cuts to the beat. So one last thing I want to mention is don't be afraid to manipulate your dialogue.
So there's bridges that line like throughout the little city, and we just started climbing across every single one of them. And me and AJ climbed on top of this little railroad bridge. It's pretty awesome.
So here Chris is talking about when we arrived in Columbus. I kind of took a nap in the car while the others tried to find a place to hang our hammocks. But I told a similar story in the beginning and didn't really need this part, which allowed me to use it here. Later during this day, we climbed some of the bridges, so I was able to use that part of the story to tell this part of the story. So don't be afraid to mix pieces of the story together in order to tell the grand story. So now it looks like this.
We bridge climbing now. So there's bridges that line like throughout the little city, and we just started climbing across every single one of them.
Well, I think that's all I have to share this time around. So now just remember those tips and watch them play out in the short video. In 3, 2, 1.
So in Columbus, we got there late at night. I think around, what, like 12, 1 a.m.? 3. Fuck.
We tried to find a bridge to sleep under, but none of it was gonna work.
We would have got soaked.
We knew it was gonna rain heavily, so we ended up just all squeezing into the car.
Yeah, that was the first time we all slept in the car together.
Today is also We Jump the World Day.
Day.
Jump on the world! Jump on the world! Yay!
And there you have it. I hope I was able to offer some valuable information with this one. If you like this kind of videos, then let me know. I'll try to make more videos like these in the future when I have more information to share with you guys. Again, if you haven't seen the documentary, then go check it out. The link is in the description. Where else would it be? Anyway, that's going to leave it for today's video, so don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I've been Sal Gaetano, and this has been a video for the community.